Hi guys. Today I want to talk about something that most people aren't aware of, and that is the dangers of over-exercising. Okay, so a huge problem at the moment. I'm going to show you some of the statistics in a moment, and also show you what you can do to help prevent that. I was one of them as well. I was over-exercising for a long period of time, and I started having some health issues, which I corrected, and I won't go into it now because some of you might have seen my previous videos, and I brought that back into control. Okay, so let me just share my screen, because I've got this little PowerPoint that I put together which will help you show some of the facts here. So how much exercise is too much? Okay, let me tell you, I was on a seminar with Dr. Oz, and he pointed out that around 3.5 to 4 hours a week minimum to about 12 to 13 hours. Anywhere between there, it increased people's longevity, life expectancy. Okay, anything below or above reduced people's life expectancy or average age. Okay, isn't that interesting? I had no idea about that before. Okay, because I'll explain more later on in detail, but basically you're putting too much stress on your body. So it's sad, but if you don't counteract some of the extra damage, which if you watch some of the previous videos, it all comes, as most of us know now, free radicals, oxidative stress. If we don't reduce that, if you're over-exercising, then it causes more damage. So in actual fact, again, it's sad, but if you have a good diet, and you're better off not exercising at all rather than over-exercising. The people that do that actually live longer. Okay, so lots of examples there, and those of you in Australia will remember Steve Folkes recently, which I talked about in another video as well. One of the fittest people, and died from a heart attack. Okay, while he was exercising, and as I've shared before. He was one of the fittest people, which I was fortunate enough to, play with him when he was with the Bulldogs in the early days when I was only 18 and a half, but he was 25, 26, and we used to, all grades used to train together pre-season. He was the quickest person in the long distance running, that is. I always was surprised at a forward. So again, I'm sharing this with you because this guy was really fit, and if you read the reports, he was still fit enough, they say, to play rugby league, okay? And they say it was strange this happened. It's not strange when you know about health and, over-exercising, free radicals and oxidative stress, etc. So, and it's not just Steve Folkes, okay? You'll see now people dying on the soccer fields, on football fields. I mean, we play touch football, and, when we were away, I saw somebody pass away who was playing sport all his life, and these are professional players, and they're dying from heart attacks. Even young athletes, as you see, a swimmer, 26 years of age, they get. You'll see all these famous. It's not just one sport; so many different types of sports. It's happening everywhere, from soccer players to hockey players to NFL, and even with young athletes now. Okay, as you can see here. All too often, as it says, otherwise healthy young people die suddenly from cardiac arrests. And we're talking about now even high school kids. Look at this during basketball in high school, sophomore years. Look at how young this person is, high school, okay? And these are the ones that are reported. Remember, heart disease is more tragic. It's sudden. They report that, but there's so many. As I'm going to show you some of the reports now from doctors, which are getting cancers, multiple sclerosis, Alzheimer's disease, all these things, and that's due to the oxidative stress. As it says here, every 3 days, another young athlete in the US alone dies from sudden cardiac arrest. And like it says, the incidence is greatly underreported, okay, especially in lower profile sports. So how much else is going on? And like I said before, they're reporting the heart disease because that's sudden and it's tragic, but they're getting all these other diseases as well, accumulating from this oxidative stress. And I'll show you why in more detail in a moment. Okay, there was one person here. I'll share this with you now, since I'm on the topic. I'll just get on the screen. Okay, this was just the other day, as you see here, June the 11th. And this prompted me actually to make this video, because I've been meaning to make it for a while. They had a triathlon in our area, and it was all over the news here. Somebody from Chicago died during the triathlon. And like it says here, it's pretty unusual. But it's not unusual for me because, you know, I know that especially triathlons, they have a lot of oxidative stress, which I'm going to talk a little bit more in a moment. And, you know, this guy was still fit. See, I'm clicking on the comments here because I followed some of his history to see how fit he was. And you can see some people write some stupid comments. You you shouldn't play if you're not fit or whatever, if you don't know what you're doing. But some of the comments they answered back, because the people that knew him, Gary has been my best friend since we were 2 years old. He was a great athlete. And no, this was not his first triathlon. He has been doing triathlon and marathons for 30 years plus. So again, I want to show that point. You know, when you're doing it for that period of time, it's going to cause a lot of stress on your body. And you can see some more comments. He was a seasoned triathlete who had trained consistently over years to prepare for the race, etc. I know he was a star athlete at our high school in Chicago area, etc. And you can see he had competed in marathons, even in Hawaii, etc. So again, this is an elite athlete there. Okay, so again, how many people do we know, or do you know, that are competing at high-level sports, etc.? You know, trying to do the right thing. They might be eating healthy or exercising, but they don't realize that food alone, even a healthy diet, which we've talked about before in other videos, there's not enough nutrition in our soils anymore, number one. And number two, now in today's world, there's more demand on the athletes. I know playing sport as an elite athlete, you know, 30 years ago, we never did the training these guys do now. We used to train 3 days a week, and that's professionally when I used to play professional. It was 3 days a week. Now they're training twice, you know, a day and what have you. Okay, so let me just get back to the slideshow. Okay, so as I said before, 60%, it's a huge problem, and 60 to 80% of athletes who experience sudden cardiac death do not have any recognized warning symptoms to their events. In other words, they've had no previous history whatsoever. Okay, so, you know, how can you prepare for this? It's very, very difficult. But like I said before, oxidation is the primary mechanism for human degeneration. And most of us will know that now, free radicals, as we say, which comes from so many different areas. But because when you exercise, you use 20 to 30 times more oxygen than sitting in a chair, it also creates these massive free radicals. In other words, you're 20 to 30 times more at risk of developing these diseases. So you need to have higher levels to counteract that damage. And again, you can look at all the science behind it, yeah, but it's just common sense, guys. Think of a racing car, right? A racing car needs, you know, really good quality fuel. It needs extra fuel. You don't do the same maintenance on a racing car that you do with a normal car, right? Because it runs a lot quicker. There's a lot more strain on it. Another example is race horses. Okay, they require high levels of nutrients. You know, race horse trainers will tell you all this stuff. Okay, you can't feed them the same amount of nutrients, and that's the same with our bodies. If you're an elite athlete, you need higher levels. Okay, and I've explained it before in a previous video on, you know, if you haven't seen it, it's great to watch it. I'll go into more depth on, you know, why we need to be taking extra nutrition, and I use the example with the levels when you're filling up your engine to oil. Do you fill it on low or do you fill it on high? And, you know, as I said before, if you're going to fill it up properly, you're going to go fill it up to the top where it's full. And if it, you know, if it goes down a little bit, you're going to fill it up again. Okay. If you run it on low, what's going to happen? And I've used that example before. Your engine's going to, you know, something's going to happen eventually. Okay. Now, as I explained in the previous video, if you've watched it, even the average people, not elite athletes, we're running on low. We are not getting the basic nutrients. That's called the RDA levels. And again, I won't get into much detail here. Watch the other video. The RDAs are the minimal levels, and that's not even enough for the average person. Now imagine an elite athlete, okay? What's going to happen? Somebody that, for example, a racing car, you're giving it the minimum, it's going to break down, okay? And this is what's happening to the elite athletes. They're like I said, they're like a racing car. They're putting a lot more strain on their body. They need, and not only high levels, but they need good quality nutrients, because there's a lot of people out there, and again, got to watch another video where I explain the difference in the different types of vitamins and minerals, because a lot of them is just garbage out there. Imagine putting poor quality oil in a racing car. What's going to happen to the engine? And imagine not putting enough either. That's why we're having these heart attacks, and people just aren't aware of it. So again, if you want to watch in more detail, there's a great doctor. He explains it a lot more, and he gives you examples. This guy's done autopsies on people, and he'll tell you what nutrients he found missing in all these athletes, and he'll show you that most of the average age of these athletes was only between around 45 to 55. Elite athletes dying at that age. So what he also talks about is it's not just what you eat that kills you. In other words, it's what you don't eat. And now I found that very interesting, because we need to be getting the high levels of nutrients. So if you're on a playlist, you'll probably find that video straight underneath this video. If you've got it from some other link, you'll find it on the Healthy by Choice website that I've got under heart disease, dangers of too much exercise, part 2, and you'll see the thumbnail there, okay? And if you want more articles on this, there's plenty of articles from very credible doctors. There's one article here I'll share with you. Some of you might know Dr. Ray Strandford now. He's a specialist when it comes to nutrition, and many of you have got a lot of his articles. He's also got an article on this topic, on elite athletes, and he talks about another famous doctor, Dr. Kenneth Cooper, which I've read a little bit about as well, and I've highlighted it here. Dr. Cooper wrote a book, The Antioxidant Revolution, plus so many other books. And basically, just to summarize, again, anybody wants, they can have this whole article. He talked about the dangers of over-exercising. And like it says here, it says how a lot of people, he noticed that a lot of his elite athletes were developing, like I said before, Alzheimer's, dementia, Parkinson's disease, where the immune system was being damaged. And that like I said before, these individuals, they were only 45 to 55 years of age in perfect health, and they're developing these diseases, and he gives the reasons why. Okay, so again, if you're interested in that, you're welcome to have this article. Plus, I've got so many other ones as well. Okay, so again, the bottom line, guys, is that as I said, I've named the website Healthy by Choice. Being healthy is a choice. It's educating ourselves and giving our bodies what it needs. Because I can tell you right now, your body's designed to protect you. And if you look after your body, then your body will look after you. So I hope this provides some value, and share it with as many people that you think that will benefit from this. Thanks for listening.